The Indian Navy has commissioned the INS Androth, the second ship in the anti-submarine warfare shallow watercraft series, at a ceremony today in Visakhapatnam. The event is being presided over by Vice Admiral Rajesh Pendharkar, Chief of the Eastern Naval Command. Built by Garden Reach Shipbuilders and engineers in Kolkata, the warship carries over 80% indigenous content, reflecting India's growing maritime self-reliance. Named after Androth Island in Lakshadweep, it continues the legacy of previous INS Androth, which served the nation for 27 years. Equipped with modern weapons and sensors, the ship can detect and destroy enemy submarines, conduct maritime surveillance, coastal security and search and rescue operations, especially in shallow waters. The induction of INS Androth follows commissioning of Arnala, Nistar, Udayagiri and Nilgiri, highlighting the Navy's balanced growth, innovation and indigenization. This new addition will significantly bolster India's anti-submarine warfare capabilities and strengthen the country's maritime borders.
Of the erstwhile Androth will recall the indelible mark left by the predecessor. That ship served the nation with distinction, and her officers and crew set high standards of seamanship, courage, and camaraderie. I'm especially delighted to see so many of those veterans with us today. Your presence connects the proud past of Androth with the bright future that awaits her successor. On behalf of the Indian Navy, I extend my warm regards and gratitude to each one of you for gracing the occasion and for the enduring inspiration that you continue to provide. The ship's name, drawn from the picturesque island of Androth in the Lakshadweep archipelago, is both apt and evocative. Just as the island stands strong and serene amidst the sea, so too will this ship stand firm, resilient, alert, and steadfast in duty. The commissioning of the new Androth is not just a ceremonial event, it is a milestone in our nation's march towards Atmanirbharta and defense production. Over the past decade, the Indian Navy has embarked on an extraordinary journey of maritime capability enhancement, launching an impressive array of state-of-the-art platforms that have been indigenously designed and built in our shipyards. From the aircraft carrier Vikrant to the powerful Project 15 Bravo destroyers of the Visakhapatnam class and the versatile Project 17 Alpha Nilgiri class frigates. And now, this swift, shallow aircraft is evident that we are steadily and purposefully shaping a balanced, modern, and self-reliant naval.
We are now in fact joined by Vice Admiral Shekhar Sinha, retired ex-Chief Integrated Defence Staff and Commander-in-Chief of Western Naval Command. Welcome to the show, Vice Admiral Shekhar Sinha. Vice Admiral, how do you in fact see the increasing importance given to anti-submarine warfare by commissioning of such crafts into the Indian Navy? It is a realization that now there's a lot of submarines operating in the Indian Ocean, and in fact the Chinese have had have a very huge submarine fleet at the same time. So is it time that we in fact increase our position where we are able to ensure that we counter these submarines that could, or rather in the future could project itself into the Indian Ocean region to an extent where that could threaten our maritime safety at the same time? So how do you see the commissioning of these anti-submarine warfare capabilities?
Well, thank you for getting me on your show. We are not, shall I say that, these ships existed in the past. That's why it's a reincarnation of the old Androth. And our shallow water anti-submarine capability had gone down after the decommissioning of the previous avatar of the same ships. And therefore, a new shipbuilding program, particularly for the coastal sort of anti-submarine vessels, that was initiated. And that is where we are. We are into the second ship, and I think there'll be 3 more ships which will come out. Now, these ships actually, as you rightly said, that the submarine activity in the Indian Ocean is increasing by the day, and it will continue to increase. And you know who all are adversaries. Now, the submarines, the most beneficial place for the submarines to hide enemy submarines are just outside the mouth of the harbor. That is because, they can lie quietly, and every ship has to leave harbor one by one, and they can actually take a pot shot and possibly destroy the ships even before they go to sea. So these are very, very important, very important platform and very important asset that has been added to the Indian Navy, and I'm sure there are more going to be added. The good thing is that it's almost fully indigenous. Though it is a corvette, though it is a small ship by all account, but the capability is almost like a frigate, like an anti-submarine frigate. And therefore, the commander-in-chief mentioned that it will increase the surveillance capability, both maritime patrol and also anti-submarine patrol. So I think it's a very formidable, indigenous. It can also carry an anti-submarine helicopter. So all in all, it's a good design. It is indigenous. The engine is our own. It's a diesel engine. And I would say that more of these ships must come out very quickly because the threats are sort of increasing by the day.
At Atmanirbhar Bharat, what the Prime Minister has always been saying, among the three forces, the Navy has been the force that has gone for more indigenous content and at the same time successfully. Why is it so?
Yeah, you're right, because Navy started very early. Because our naval planners, the old-time admirals, they had a very, shall I say, big thinking. They knew that the India's security, India's prosperity lies over Indian Ocean. And therefore, protecting the sea lanes of communication will be the task of this Navy in times to come. And therefore, what has happened is that we knew that our government will not be able to fund importing so many platforms in the near future. As a result, they went in for indigenization very early in the 1960s. We had the first ship, a small ship though it was built, but a bigger ship, which is a Leander class. That Leander class was built in the early 70s. So we have been making the ships ourselves. That is because the Navy realized that its role will be all across the Indian Ocean and not only coastal water. And that is the reason why we started making our ships ourselves. And today, as you know, that including the aircraft carrier, we make all our ships ourselves here in India, and except for the gas turbine engine and possibly a bigger electrical engine, it is 70 to 80% totally indigenous. So that is why Navy is already way ahead of other services, and it has the Atmanirbhar program of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. It has only added to the speed at which the indigenization is progressing. So I think that that is one reason why the Navy realized that it will be very difficult for the country to keep buying these platforms in the coming days, and therefore making it in India is the only salvation. So the government owned PSUs, Mazgaon Dock Limited, the GRSC, the Goa Shipyard, and now Visakhapatnam, the HSL. Now these are the government shipyards, and the Navy made sure that the chairman, managing director of all these yards, they used to be naval officers who were just about retiring, or they were asked to retire and take over so that they understood as to what is the requirement of the Navy and how these ships should be built. So most of them, in fact, all of them except for one or two, are former naval officers who are the CMDs of these PSUs.
Well, Vice Admiral, as you were speaking, the Androth has been commissioned by the Vice Admiral there, and the momentum of that. A memento of that commissioning is also being given to the representatives there, and also the captain of the ship has also been brought onto the stage right now, and the plaque is being given to him as well. Well, Vice Admiral Shekhar Sinha, it's interesting to see, the commissioning of all these, ships into the Navy. One crucial part of this commissioning that everyone would like to know is about how about the naval aviation arm? I know a lot of things have to be spoken about it, but a lot of things cannot be said as well. But when it comes to the aviation arm, especially when it comes to anti-submarine warfare, how integrated it is with the ships on the sea at the same time, and how much of integration is there with its naval air arm and the ships on the ground? How does it in fact work in ensuring that our coasts are safe?
Well, today, in today's time, if you see our Indian Ocean area, it's almost 3,000-kilometer diameter. And it's a big, big area which has to be kept under surveillance because we should know all the time as to who is entering the Indian Ocean, who is a friendly ship and who is not a friendly ship. There are larger number of ships, about 90% of the ships at sea are actually commercial. They are ships engaged in trade and they belong to, what is called the global commons to many countries in every country. And therefore, we are not only looking for warship, we are also looking for protecting the merchant ships, not only of India, but every country which is a seafarer, saving lives, protecting them from piracy is a bounden duty of all the navies, including that of Indian Navy. And Prime Minister's, often repeated, shloka that he said, Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, this is very true for the Navy. In fact, if there is any disaster or any piracy or any trouble with any ship, they transmit it on a particular frequency, and the nearest warship or a nearest merchant ship closes it and bails them out from this problem. So, how is the naval aviation? Well, only an aircraft and satellite can cover the entire sea at any given time because the ships will take a long time to reach to patrol that area. So, we have maritime patrol aircraft, very long range, the P8I, which is the Boeing 737 extended version, and they are equipped with radars. They are equipped with very high-end sonobuoy, and they keep patrolling the entire Indian Ocean almost round the clock. We are short on those aircraft. More are required. The proposal for 6 more aircraft is pending, and because of our problem with the US right now, it has been put on hold. Otherwise, we have 12 of them. We need to have at least total number at least 19, building up to about 31. So that way the aircraft are completely linked to the surface ships and submarines. They can talk to each other. There is a data link, and the data link can transfer the data of all the contacts in the Indian Ocean down to the Maritime Operations Center, which is ashore in Bombay, in Mumbai, in Visakhapatnam, in Port Blair, and the Maritime Domain Awareness Center is in Manesar, where all this data is collated, fused, and then the actual situation of the sea is given passed down to the ships and Maritime Operations Center, so that anytime we get to know that there is a possibility of a ship which is not friendly and likely to be damaging, the aircraft can direct these ships to close that contact, which is appearing to be likely adversary, and shadow that ship, shadow that submarine till such time they are remaining outside the exclusive economic zone of India. So that way, aviation is a very integral part of maritime operation at sea. The second point is the helicopters, which are anti-submarine helicopters. They are all integrated with their own motherships. The AEW helicopters, airborne early warning helicopters, they are on the aircraft carrier. They are the ones who actually keep track of fairly large area and control our fighters, direct the fighters onto the target. So I think the aviation is a very important arm of the Navy, and it has got a very major role to play in the maritime warfare. Without an aviation, one cannot imagine a maritime warfare being fought, in today's day.
Vice Admiral, since we've spoken about naval aviation arm, we've seen how naval LCA did not, in fact, work out the way it should have worked out. But it gave, the testing of it did give us a lot of thinking process for the deck-based fighter that the Navy is in fact designing and probably will have it as an indigenous content. How much of a TED-BF would we be able to have, and how much will it cut down on our import of these critical aircraft from abroad?
Well, the aerospace, mainly the aeroplane industry, did not take off the way it should have taken off. And aerospace industry has therefore remained, captive of only Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, which is sad because in a country like this, which has got such a huge air force and such a big naval aviation, they should have been building their own aircraft by now. But there is a fair amount of progress in that direction. One of the reasons why we were not sort of having those aircraft building procedure here is because we don't make the engines. Jet engines are the high technology, items. And during the Industrial Revolution, this is one technique, one technology which was not given to us by our colonial masters. So that is why we have fallen back. But now there is an amendment to it. There is a agreement has been signed with the French company called Safran, and they are the ones who are making the engines here. They will be making the engines, and hopefully, after this first lot of Tejas aircraft, becomes operational, hopefully we will see our own engines by about 2030 or so. But the point that you are asking is dependence of aircraft import is at the moment is very high. It was 100%. It may be now 90% because 10% will be equipped by Tejas, but that is not good enough. And we have to be moving in this direction very quickly. The private sector has been now invited for AMCA, the multi-role combat aircraft, advanced multi-role, and also the deck-based twin-engine fighter. So once the AMCA develops, I would think that the maritime version, what is called the twin-engine deck-based fighter, that should run simultaneously to AMCA because the qualities required are similar, except that they will have to have a very stronger airframe, like they did the modification in LCA Navy. It also did the landing trials on the aircraft carrier, our own aircraft carrier Vikrat. So I think that technology we have now, idea is to get them going in a larger scale, and that is what is in progress. That is what is keeping us holding right now as far as the aircraft industry is concerned. But the transport aircraft, we have started making it by the private sector. Tata's in, with the Euro division, the Eurasian companies, which includes the Spanish and the Italians. Uh, they are making the transport aircraft. I think the first one, totally indigenous, should take a few years, but they have started producing the components. Similarly, the DRDO has already developed large number of weapons which are integrated into the imported aircraft. And from that aspect, I think we are becoming nearly Atmanirbhar air-to-air missile, air-to-surface missile, BrahMos, and what have you, and most of the bombs and those kind of loiter bombs. We are making it now. But now the main aircraft and engine is the main hurdle, which we are gradually moving in that direction.